Welcome, everyone, to the Konabos March Madness Sweet 16 Selection Sunday show. We will break down the 8 brackets and which companies will be moving forward into the Elite 8. I want to start this telecast by saying that everyone is a winner in this contest. By coming together for a little fun competition, we have raised awareness of our industry at large. We have generated a result greater than the sum of all of our impressive parts. At selection time, this bracket has generated over 10,000 impressions and over 1,000 engagements. The engagement across all 16 competitors has been ridiculously impressive. The team spirit exhibited across all of the companies has been heartening, and the strong cultures you all boast has been front and center. Now, let us look at the results. In the CMS and CDN bracket, we had Content going up against Cloudinary and Contentful against Kentico. First, we're going to look at the results of the Content AI and Cloudinary bracket. This was a very spirited competition, and our friends at Content came out on top. Cloudinary put up a very good fight. At the time of tabulation, they had 18 reactions and votes, and Content AI had 33. So this was a really strong showing for both companies. And one thing we found in this ad hoc competition was the amount of write-in votes. It makes us hearken a little bit back to political elections, and we had to count the write-in votes as well as the reaction votes. And so this was a very strong bracket, but Content.ai did come out on top and will move forward into the Elite 8. Next up, we had Contentful against Kentico. Kentico, of course, is the hybrid CMS, a little bit of monolith, a little bit of headless hybrid, if you will. Contentful is a pure play headless CMS. We were really interested to see if Kentico would move forward here and then go up against Content AI. At one time, they were the same company, and back in the summer, there was an infusion of money into the two companies, and Content AI broke apart. So we were interested in seeing where that would go, but the competition said what it did, and Contentful has moved forward. I do want to say for Kentico, they had a very strong 14 votes up against Contentful's 34, and I want to give credit to Yenda Perla, the VP of marketing at Kentico, who stepped out of his vacation to vote and to spread the word. So they were a very strong competitor here in this bracket, but Contentful did move forward here. So let's look at the bracket over on the right side. In this one, we had really strong competition in the form of Storyblock going against Sanity.io, two very strong headless CMS competitors, and then two site search competitors in SearchStacks and Algolia. So we're going to call this the headless CMS site search bracket. Let's look at the top one first. Storyblock did push themselves out there. They had a very strong showing with 65 votes in this round. Sanity.io had a very strong showing as well, but they had 22. And we'll see at the end how everyone netted out in this first round in terms of the amount of votes. But Storyblock was very strong here with 65 votes. But again, just like in the actual March Madness, one round you can dominate, and in the next round you have to continue and keep the continuity about your full court press here, if you will. Next up, in our site search category, SearchStacks. SearchStacks acquitted themselves very well with 24 votes, and Algolia did as well. They had 13 votes. But SearchStacks will move forward into this round. And by the way, SearchStacks and a Storyblocks combo could be an interesting mix for your product set. Now let's go down to the next bracket. This is a fun one. This is Uniform versus Consia.ai and Strappy versus Content Stack. So we're going to call this the DXC, which stands for Digital Experience Composition, or DXO, Digital Experience Orchestration, and Composable DXP bracket. And again, Uniform up against Consia, Strappy against Content Stack. So let's first look at the Uniform Consia matchup. Consia did stand out. They had 24 votes to Uniform's 7. I know Uniform has had a few events happening in London and then in New York this coming week, so they might have not had the chance to vote as much, but still a strong showing. But Consia, led by CEO Sana Remeke and Dwayne Remeke and Jason Yen, did move forward. Now, the really strong next bracket, Strappy against Content Stack. This was a very interesting one because Strappy came out of the gates very strong. They had their team spirit moving ahead in a big way, and when really got out to a strong lead. And Content Stack have been having team building exercises happening around the world, really kicked it up a notch, and won. They won in a big way. They were actually our biggest vote getter. They had 195 votes in this round. And there's nothing for Strappy to feel bad about themselves for. They had 21, which was a solid showing for them. But Content Stack came out really strong in this round. I mean, unbelievably strong with the write-in vote and the reaction vote. And what we did in this campaign, in this contest, was to have one of the competitors would have the celebration emoji and the other would have the light bulb emoji. And we could count that way. But then what we found was that folks in a different context maybe and just have great enthusiasm and would write in a vote as a comment, which in terms of virality was very good for this campaign because as LinkedIn saw it, reactions, engagements, comments, they were all good. And that's what really set this thing up to be 10,000 plus and growing viewership, impressions, and over 1,000 engagements. So they really were strong. And we're going to see in the next round how Consia and Content Stack go against each other, because the press that Content Stack put forward, unbelievably impressive. But we start this next round from scratch. And will the enthusiasm be there to vote at those levels? But very impressive to watch. In our last bracket, which I will call the all-in-one DXP and composable commerce bracket, we had Sitecore up against Optimizely. These are companies that we are used to seeing in Magic Quadrants. And we also had Ultra Commerce going up against Commerce Tools, two very good composable commerce options for your composable DXP and commerce mix. So first up, we're going to look at how Sitecore acquitted themselves against Optimizely. Sitecore did come out on top in this one. They had 22 votes to Optimizely's 9. So a solid showing. Nobody stepped up to the level of Content Stack, but hey, you win your bracket. As the saying goes in March Madness, survive, advance, and take the next round as you will and move forward. But Sitecore did move ahead in this round. Next up in our Ultra Commerce versus Commerce Tools composable commerce, try to say that 8 times, bracket, Ultra Commerce did come out ahead, and that was a pretty close one. Ultra Commerce at the time of vote tabulation did have 20 votes to Commerce Tools 13. Two very good solutions for your mix, and we'll see in future years how those organizations acquit themselves in this Konabos March Madness, but very good solutions in their own regard. So let's look again at the whole board here. So now we are in the Elite 8. We're going to have some very interesting matchups in the form of Content AI and Contentful, Storyblock and Search Stacks, Consia.ai and Content Stack. And one thing I do want to say about Content Stack, Konabos has a webinar series called the DX Cafe. And Connor Egan, who is the VP of Product at Content Stack, will be our featured guest on March 28th. So sign up for that one to hear all about Content Stack's composable DXP product set and how they are trying to pioneer their way to the future in this industry. So a little branded content here to say that. Then we have Sitecore going against Ultra Commerce. That will be a very interesting competition to behold, because you look at the fact that Ultra Commerce is not in my top votes here. So they had, they're missing. So they're supposed to be here right here at 20. But if you think about the fact that Ultra Commerce had 20, and I guess I forgot Sitecore and Optimizely both here, my apologies. Sitecore at 22 and Ultra Commerce at 20, we'll see how that vote nets itself out. Content Stack's going to be interesting though. At 195 engagements, so impressive. I was so impressed with how this company came together. The team spirit there is something to behold. And they're going to be going up against the engine that could, the decision engine that could, Consia. They had 24, but we're all going to start from scratch in our next engagement here for the Elite 8, which will then come down to the Final 4. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I think we're going to be in for a real March Madness treat as we head down to the Final 4 and then the championship itself. So really appreciate all being here, and we'll move forward and see where we go in this Elite 8. Thanks so much to everybody for the engagement. Again, this is something that Konabos has hosted, but it is an industry-wide thing. And if we can rise all boats for our industry, there's nothing better. And it's great to see the team spirit from everybody. And it's great to give each company something to get behind. Competition and sports are a great thing. And being able to bring that into this realm has been a real treat. So let's move forward and see where the votes net out in our Elite Eight with this great bracket of companies vying against one another. And also, those who did not win in this round, everybody was a winner. A lot of votes, a lot of enthusiasm. Let's move forward. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great one.